MCW fans, welcome to a very special episode of MCW Backstage Pass. You have heard it said before, and I'll say it again. Our guest tonight needs absolutely no introduction, but for those living under a rock, it's my absolute pleasure to welcome with me here tonight WWE Hall of Famer, the one, the only, Lita.
Thank you for the intro.
Oh my God, this is so exciting for me. Thanks for taking the time to meet with me here tonight. First and foremost, I just really want to take a moment and thank you for everything you have done in the industry. You are a hell of an athlete, a hell of an entertainer, and it's because of trailblazers like yourself that 8-year-olds watching Raw in 2004, like myself, fell in love with professional wrestling. So thank you.
Awesome. I appreciate that. It never gets old hearing it.
No,
It kind of like, I feel like it sinks in little by little, and even like this most recent interaction, it's like, it sinks in a little bit more, and I appreciate it a little bit more each time.
Absolutely, absolutely. And speaking of Raw 2004, I want to take you back there for a quick moment.
Okay.
A fun fact for the fans. Lita and Kane's baby would have been 18 years old had Snitsky not punted the baby live on Raw. So,
wow.
Taking you back, right?
We could have a voter on our hands, or another additional voter. Yeah, that's one of the storylines I feel like I did not appreciate at the time, because I was like, wait, what is my job? This is insane. And then now, like, looking all these years later, I'm like, that's wrestling. Like, the more whack storyline you can think of, the more off the wall, the more bizarre, the more that I like to think of that if you're explaining what's happening to a non-wrestling fan, that they're gonna go, you're a crazy person right now. And they're like, nope, seriously, that's what happened.
It's what happened. As an 8-year-old watching, I was like, what just happened? What's going on here? But it kept me watching, and it kept me, tuning in every week. But back to business, let's reel it in. Though I am going to take my time, I'm going to bask in this moment. It's not every day that I get to sit next to Lita. But we've been seeing a lot of you lately. You were at the Rumble, you were at Raw, you're making a pit stop here in Baltimore.
Yeah.
And then you will be heading to Elimination Chamber to face Becky Lynch, which I want to touch base on. But fans may not know that MCW is a home to you.
Yeah.
And I'm curious, how did your relationship with MCW Pro Wrestling and your relationship with President of MCW, Dan McDevitt, how did that relationship come to fruition?
Yeah, so I've always come back to MCW. I'm never gone too long, because it was my first home in wrestling.
Okay.
And I was just trying to be the biggest sponge that I could. Go to any single show that I knew of anybody. Like, can I just tag along with you if I couldn't get booked on the show?
Mm-hmm.
Anywhere I could go. Landed in an MCW show. They said, oh, we're going to go train. They have a school tomorrow. And I was like, okay, well, can I just watch? I just kept showing up. And, I broke ass kid, and I didn't have any money. And I just, anytime I could put gas in my tank, I would be like, let me just see where I could go. I drove, and Dan was like, you're going to make it one way or another. And it's going to look good coming from my school. So I'm going to let you train here. And so, I'm forever appreciative of Dan giving me that opportunity. So I always want to come, just pay it back, and let MCW and Dan know that I'm like always appreciative of having started here.
Yeah, and so a friendly reminder to the fans to chase what you love, because you never know what opportunities may, present themselves in front of you. Like for me here tonight, getting a chance to speak and catch up with Lita. So you are heading to Elimination Chamber to face Becky Lynch. And I'm thinking you're going to come out 5-time women's champion. So can you share with us a little bit about any tactics you have in mind? What's your game plan going into that? Or are you not able to share? What can you give us?
All right. So I first want to start by saying 5 is my lucky number.
There it is.
So I would like to come out also as a 5-time champion. I think this opportunity came up out of nowhere, like on very short notice. Mm-hmm. So while I was training for Rumble, I had a little bit of a head start, but being in a multi-person match to fighting for the championship are two totally different things.
Yeah.
So I will say that I feel like it's less about, for me, strategy, and more about like putting my head down and go. Like any moment I have, I'm training. Any moment I have, I'm in the gym. Any moment I have, I'm watching my old matches. I'm watching Becky's current matches, and basically just like crash coursing for my finals.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I saw you at the Rumble, and I saw you on Raw, and I don't think you've missed a beat. I mean, you've got one more run in you, 2 more runs. I think, you know.
I feel that way, you know, and I honestly, like, this opportunity came out of nowhere. I was not thinking, like, when I was sitting at home prior to Rumble, I wasn't like, you know what I need to do? Be the women's championship, you know, be the women's champion in this current day. But then, once given the opportunity, now I'm like, oh, no, I do need to be the 5-time women's champion. So,
we love to see it.
So yeah. And honestly, that's been a thing that the fans have been so supportive of this, and any doubt that I might have in my head, the fans are squashing it one by one each time they come up and tell me, like, I know you can do this. And that's it's huge.
Let me add to that list. I know you can do it. So Elimination Chamber's coming up, and you've got, as you're referring to, one last run in you. So once this run is over and Lita becomes Amy, how different are they from one another?
Oh, I found out very different. Like, since, especially since pandemic times, I have been, for the first time, in one place for, you know, a considerable amount of time, just like a very mellow, easy living, like, as stressful and tumultuous as life in general has been since pandemic. I'm like finding your zen and just like staying grounded and going, don't freak out just because the world can feel like it's freaking out. I'm like, so living from my like chill, like gardening, surfing, hiking, like lifestyle to like go Lita life, they are very different right now. So I will say that it feels like a little, like I feel like a tourist in this run right now.
Are you taking your dog with you everywhere you go?
Yeah, Ken's is 19 now, and she's been on the road with me since I was full-time with WWE, and she's got 1 run left in her, too.
I follow her on Instagram.
The Kens, yeah. _ the Kens _ She can't be beat.
Tell the fans who may be living under a rock, who may not be following you on social media, where they can find you and keep up with you.
Yeah, so I'm Amy Dumas on Twitter, and then on Instagram I'm Machete Girl. It was like meant to, it started out as like a covert Insta, and then I was like, it's just my Insta, so that's why it's not my name, or Lita is my nickname in Nicaragua is Machete Girl, so and I started it when I was down there, so I just was Machete Girl, but now the cat's out of the bag. Been out of the bag for years.
Yeah, so you mentioned Nicaragua, and I know you spent a little bit of time in Mexico where you picked up on your style of wrestling.
Yeah.
So, do you find yourself in Latin America often? Or you travel?
It's my heritage is European.
Okay.
But I feel that in my prior, like, I've always joke, I'm like, oh, I'm a Latina poser because I'm not of like Spanish background, but I'm so drawn to it, not only starting my career down in Mexico, but anytime I'm in Central America, South America, Latin America in general, when I'm in Spain, it's a weird thing where I'm just like,
do you speak the language?
I do, yeah. And I mean, but it's like ugly, it's like street style because I aprendí en la calle, but like, you know.
Lita habla español, mi gente. So we're gonna switch this interview to Spanish. So just maybe. Let's see. Maybe.
Si prefiera, está bien.
You kind of got like that Mexican slang street style. I love it.
People ask me, so this is my biggest compliment. When I am in Spain and when I'm in Central America, they ask me if I'm from the DFA, and I'm like, no, why? They're like, you sound like you're from Mexico City, and I'm like, cool, because that's where I learned.
That's awesome, man. I didn't know that. It's good to know. Another fun fact that I added to the book of Lita. But thank you so much for taking the time to sit down with me here and talk. You're spending your time here in Baltimore, and then you're heading off to Elimination Chamber. So I'll be tuning in. Fans, make sure you're tuning in as well. Thank you very much, Lita. I appreciate you coming out.
Thank you for taking the time. Thank you to you guys there. Gracias a todo. Ojalá que puedo ganar para ti.
Thanks for watching, guys.